In this video, I'd like to talk to you about fiberglass swimming pools. And if you are in the market for buying and installing a swimming pool and you're considering fiberglass swimming pools, this video is for you. This video is significant to me in that of 12 or 1300 some odd videos on this YouTube channel, I have very few where I'm talking about fiberglass swimming pools. And if I'm just cards on the table honest about it, it's that I don't love fiberglass swimming pools, and I just kind of don't talk about stuff I don't love. You know what I mean? That's what I do on here. And it's not really fair to you, the viewer, first of all, because there's like fiberglass pools make up a huge component of the swimming pool market. Some of the biggest companies are fiberglass pool shell manufacturers. Like, millions of people have these fiberglass pools, and I should be talking about them. And so that's what we're going to do here today. And I would like to say, I don't want to fight with anybody. Like, you could totally have a contrary opinion to what I'm about to deliver here, and that's valid. Your opinion's valid, so is mine. In fact, if you've got contradictory information, or you'd just like to take your stab at your sales approach for why somebody should get a fiberglass pool if I'm saying not to get one, please feel free to make a comment below and link to your resource or whatever the case is, because I'm sure that the people watching this video would find these resources helpful. So I am a retired pool builder, not currently building pools, haven't for quite a while now, no plans to do so, so I'm not trying to sell you a swimming pool. That's something that I want to establish first of all. When I built swimming pools, I built concrete swimming pools and I built vinyl liner swimming pools. If you had a lower budget, we kind of talked liner. If you had a higher budget, or you lived in a more affluent neighborhood, or your design called for certain features that really lend themselves towards a concrete pool, then we talked that. I had my opportunity to sell and install fiberglass pools. Plenty of opportunity to do so. Back then, the manufacturers would aggressively reach out to you and try to get you to sell and install their pools. And I just simply didn't, because I had many other contacts who were swimming pool company owners and installers, and I just wasn't satisfied with the fiberglass pools I saw going in. There's definitely a market for them. 100% there's a market for them. So don't think that I'm heading down this path saying that, nope, they're no good or whatever. There's a specific market segment where the fiberglass pools definitively make the most sense. And we'll get there. I'm going to get to all this information, but I'm just kind of trying to give you a little background so you can understand who I am, why I'm saying the things I'm saying, and that I, you know, from my perspective, like, I have a lot of experience with swimming pools and swimming pool installations, and there's a reason why I didn't install the fiberglass pools. Like, one of the reasons why is because I can install concrete pools. And in a lot of the areas of North America, when you say that, that means like, oh, so like you hired out all the individual subcontractors who are trade specialists of certain disciplines, like rebar workers or plasterers or shotcrete workers, etc. And I would have loved to do that, but that wasn't available to me. I had to learn each and every one of those and do each and every one of those as the project lead on site. And as a result, that hands-on experience gave me real insight into how to build pools, where pools go wrong. Like, random example, on shotcrete day, when you're building a concrete pool, it's a big day, there's a lot of money involved in this, and you certainly don't want this day to go sideways. And something called rebound is you're shooting concrete at the wall. It's like a shoulder mounted concrete cannon, and some of it like splatters back and kind of it accumulates on the floor. You have to shovel that out. They have to get that out of the pool. You can't incorporate that into the floor or use that rebound to like build a set of stairs. These will result in failures, and this is well known within the gunite and shotcrete industry. But it's work. It's hard work to get that rebound, and there's a lot of stuff going on, like dangerous stuff going on. So you got to have somebody getting in there, getting that rebound, scraping it away, shoveling it out, working hard doing so. And if you, as the guy watching this job happen, being the supervisor, if you're not on it, if I'm busy shooting on the nozzle because I'm the only guy skilled enough to do that, then the person who's supposed to be doing the rebound might not do their work, and we could have a structural failure in the swimming pool just from this one tiny little thing. But that's an example how experience goes a long way. If I just hire a shotcrete company to build me a pool and they show up and they install a pool, I just kind of hope that they they knew what they were doing. Like, that's not as good to me. It's better to build them yourself. It's limiting for the company. You can't grow exponentially. You can grow linear at best. It's, you know, it's a hard road, but it delivers more skills into the people like me who are running these companies and enables me to speak with more confidence and more intelligence on subjects like fiberglass swimming pools and why you might not want one. So let's cover that right away. Or actually, you know what? Yeah, let's cover that right away. So why would you not want one? And one of my biggest bones to pick, and again, I'm not trying to start a fight with anyone here. I'm going to say good stuff too. But one of my biggest bones to pick is that there's a lot of marketing behind fiberglass swimming pools. There's a bunch of manufacturers of shells, and the shells are big money, giant displays at like home and garden shows and trade shows and stuff like that. It's very eye-catching, and a lot of money spent on magazines and articles and bench ads and whatnot, all for fiberglass swimming pools, telling you fiberglass are the best. Think of fiberglass for your next pool and listing all these reasons why they're better. And you, as a person who owns a house thinking about a pool, like, you see all this marketing, but you know what you don't see? You don't really see like countrywide marketing for concrete swimming pools. You just don't, because there's no individual product that is the entire pool. It's just like tile distributors and specialty waterproofing distributors and interior finish distributors and all these other like steel, like just people who sell steel. They're not spending marketing money to tell you like, yeah, we sell steel, so buy a concrete pool. It doesn't happen, but it does with fiberglass pools. So you're inundated with marketing on one side and completely absent on the other side. So does that mean fiberglass pools are bad and you shouldn't get one? No, but you should be aware of that. You should be aware that you're being inundated with marketing entirely from one side of the equation here. And the same thing applies to vinyl liner swimming pools, like to a lesser degree than concrete, but still the same thing. Like, there's liner manufacturers who are countrywide and they're pretty big and they got a lot of money for marketing, and they spend some on, you know, advertising, saying buy liner pools from us. We're the guys you want. But it's not the same as fiberglass. They don't spend money on marketing like fiberglass do. Like, they spend some of the biggest money on marketing. So it's important to recognize this, because you want to be informed when you're making these decisions. You don't want to feel duped, right? And so let's talk about you feeling duped and how that could happen, because we were talking about the reasons to not get one. So one of the first things you'll hear about a fiberglass pool from somebody trying to sell you a fiberglass pool, they use less chemicals, right? Because they're so smooth and slippery, nothing can stick to them. And so fiberglass pools use less chemicals than concrete pools or vinyl liner pools. And I don't agree with it. I don't think that, and you know what? And if it is true, it's like negligible, right? Like, literally negligible difference. And we'll start with the vinyl liner, because hey, a vinyl liner is crazy slippery, right? So there's not a lot sticking to a vinyl liner. So how are you using less chemicals in a fiberglass pool if a vinyl liner is equally as slippery? Heck, if not more slippery than a fiberglass pool. And the answer is that you're not. And so now we compare it to a concrete pool, and you're like, oh yeah, concrete pool is like all super rough, right? And so it definitely uses more chemicals than the fiberglass pool. Disagree again, because a concrete pool is not supposed to be rough. How about a concrete pool with large format impervious porcelain tiles? Are you saying that a fiberglass is smoother than like a polished porcelain? Because I wouldn't agree with that. I would definitely say that there's going to be very little in the way of like algae sticking to large format porcelain tiles. So again, if you're using less chemicals, if you are, which I'm disagreeing with, you're using so little, you used $4 less chemicals in your fiberglass pool per year than your other pool. If that were true, if that were the case, or some tiny amount of money difference between the two, would you still factor that into your purchasing decision? Because I think that that's a more accurate representation of the truth of the situation, which is that they don't really use less chemicals. And if they do, it's just a tiny incremental amount less than a well-maintained, well-installed concrete pool or vinyl liner swimming pool. So some of the other reasons why you might not want to buy a fiberglass pool is basically, I'm just kind of picking apart the marketing points that you're going to read when you are reading about fiberglass pools. They never need to be refinished. Isn't that great news? And The truth is they might need to be refinished less often than a concrete pool or a vinyl liner pool for the interior surface. I'd agree with that statement. Does a fiberglass pool never need to be resurfaced? I would not agree with that. I would say they definitely, occasionally, need to be resurfaced for reasons. Could be a product failure, could be a chemical management failure, could be a lot of different things going on here. But ultimately, ask the company installing your fiberglass pool, hey, quick question. Do you offer fiberglass pool refinishing services? And they'll probably be like, yeah. Because if they sell fiberglass swimming pools and they install fiberglass swimming pools, why wouldn't they refinish fiberglass swimming pools? Makes sense to me as a contractor. And if they say, yes, we do refinish them, you would say, well, why? Why would you do that? They never need to be refinished. But the truth is that they do need to be refinished, but refinishing a fiberglass pool is a little bit of a specialty application. Whoever sells you a vinyl liner swimming pool and installs all of the stuff and your pool's up and running 5 years from now, which is early, the liner failed. That dog got in there and ripped it to pieces and you need a new liner. The guy that installed the pool can install a new liner for you. If you have a fiberglass pool installed, and this leads me to my next point, and 5 years down the road, due to some strange chemical mismanagement thing, that pool surface is not doing good and you need new gel coat on this fiberglass pool, the person who installed the pool for you very likely does not have the skills or offer the service to refinish that fiberglass pool for you. And that leads me to my point of fiberglass pools never break. They last forever. They're stronger than steel. They're stronger than steel by weight is the rest of the statement, which would be important if we were going to weigh your swimming pool, but we're not. A fiberglass pool can and will crack if you don't install it right. That's kind of the number one thing. And it just takes a little bit of like ground movement or water movement or some improper installation. You're going to get a twist, you're going to get a bow, you're going to get something going on, or it could crack. And if this happens, how do you fix it? How do you fix a crack in a fiberglass pool? Because I've had people contact me, reach out to me directly in my local area and be like, hey, I just had a fiberglass pool installed. Like we paid like over $100,000, whatever it was. Just had it installed, it's been here 2 weeks. So there's a big crack in the floor. And I'm reaching out to you to A, ask, is that a problem? Answer, yes, it's a problem. B, I talked to the manufacturer and the installer. So the people who built the shell and the guys who installed it. And they told me, not me, but they told this to the person who just paid to have this installed 2 weeks ago. They told me to swim down with JB Weld and just kind of like put it across the crack. That was the solution. That wasn't like until we get there. That was the solution. And he's like, what are you talking about? And if you're not familiar, JB Weld is like from the local hardware store. It's a $10 epoxy that you just rub A and B together and put it in there. And it's not like, I mean, they might even make a product that's suitable for use in swimming pools, but certainly not as a repair to a structural crack in a brand new swimming pool. This is my point. It was crazy to me to hear this, that the installer and the shell manufacturer were just, yeah, like we're done here. And because there was no other option. Tear it out of the ground and redo the whole thing. That was the option. And just like, I don't know, maybe it ended up going that way via court or something. I have no idea, but I do know that that person was not happy. They were not given a situation that was acceptable in my mind. And it exposes this thing where people sell and install fiberglass pools because they don't take as much actual skill and experience as a concrete pool, certainly, and even a vinyl liner pool, in my opinion, to build. Like, it really doesn't. A lot of the times you will see, and this is who should buy fiberglass pools, by the way, a general contractor. General contractor is building a house, right? And he's got a budget to build the house. Within part of the house plan is this fancy pool. And he's got to hire me, a fancy pool builder, to come in and build it. And you know what? I'm really expensive. And he's thinking, because the fiberglass pool shell manufacturer has reached him via marketing, he's like, if I buy that shell from this fiberglass pool company, they said they're going to help me install it. Like, I'm a contractor. I'm building a house here. I know what I'm doing. I got plumbers. I got carpenters, all this stuff. We can do this, right? And the shell manufacturer is like, yes, we can do this. And they send out a salesman. They don't send out like Bob Vila or, Homes on Homes to come help install this. They send out a salesman who's seen this a couple of times, and you install the fiberglass pool. That's kind of like the normal process that you see for fiberglass pool installations. They had the ability to hire me as a concrete pool specialist or even a vinyl pool specialist, come in, install a pool, but a lot of money. They saved a ton of money that goes into the general contractor's pocket by hiring a fiberglass pool company, shell manufacturer, to deliver a shell, help them to install it. Bada bing, they didn't even need me at all. They can buy a pump and a filter and install that. That's a different, like, look at me, look behind me here. Does this stuff look straightforward to you? The average house plumber isn't really familiar with closed loop plumbing systems and swimming pool filtration applications, sanitizer systems, the whole bit. It is a specialty trade. It truly is. So those are the people that I see successfully installing fiberglass pools, are a general contractor looking to take on the role of the pool builder themselves, thereby incorporating that budget into their own budget or their own pockets ultimately. But they don't necessarily have the same level of experience or skill as the average person out there installing concrete pools, as an example. Like, they really don't. If they could build concrete or fiberglass, probably most of the time they build concrete pools. Most of those people don't endeavor to build fiberglass pools. So this is all relevant to you as somebody who's shopping, because you need to understand the difference between marketing message and expectations of function. Like that, I want to really hammer the expectations of function. There's really three things: your budget, your expectations of function, and really the cosmetic value would be the third one. Like, that's what you need to concern yourself with when you're shopping for a swimming pool. And a lot of the time, the budget is kind of going to dictate for you which one's the right one. But I've seen situations where, for whatever reason, in whatever area, the fiberglass pool option is the most expensive one. It's actually significantly more expensive than other pool options in that area, and people are still choosing them. And to me, I can't imagine a situation, with the knowledge and experience I have, I cannot imagine a situation in which I would pay extra to get a fiberglass pool. I might concede to you as Swimming Pool Steve, there is a time and a place for fiberglass swimming pools, and I've already identified one of those times and places for you. But to pay extra as a premium product versus something like a concrete pool, no. Like, maybe as a premium product versus a vinyl pool, I could get on board with this, because I do agree that the surface is very robust and it lasts a very long time. And I'm not really worried about something that a lot of people would identify as a negative thing about fiberglass pools, which is limited in design and shape. Like, vinyl pools are somewhat limited in design and shape. Concrete pools, not at all. But fiberglass pools can only be so wide because they have to transport down the roads, commonly like 16 feet wide, and the shells can only be so long. The thing is from my perspective, when you're building a pool, 9 times out of 10, you should be choosing a rectangle. It's generic, it's classic, off-the-shelf products like covers just fit right on there. Like, I don't like the random, the rectangle maximizes your swimming space. It maximizes your playing space. It's just the right one for almost every house and almost every backyard. So it doesn't make sense to me to have to worry about limitless design. Just get a rectangle. And you know what? Fiberglass pools come in rectangles, so no problems there. So a fiberglass pool, when installed by somebody, like maybe you're a fiberglass pool installer, you're watching this, you're furious right now because I'm saying all this crap about fiberglass pools. But maybe you can do gel coating services and structural fiberglass repairs yourself, and you think fiberglass pools are the best and they're the most popular in your area. I would probably agree with all that stuff, especially if they're really popular in your area. Like, this is one of the #1 things that you need to know as a house owner looking to put in a pool. What's popular in your area? Because certain areas are just dominated by certain kinds of pools, and usually there's reasons for it. Like, this is a nuanced discussion for swimming pools. It's really just not like this one's good, this one's bad. What's the water table like? Is your season year-round, or is it a seasonal climate? Is it, is there availability of skilled trades for certain things? Like, I'll give you an example. In the Northeast, in this cold climate area, winter freezing conditions, vinyl liner just does better than any other type of swimming pool. It lends itself well to a lower real estate value. It can weather cold climates really quite well, a lot better than fiberglass and concrete pools for nuanced reasons we can discuss in other videos. It just in general, that is, they call it liner is king because, or vinyl is king because it truly is out here. And if you have a concrete pool and you're in the Northeast and it's got problems like tile or interior surface or something like that, structural crack repair that needs to be done, you are hard pressed to find somebody to get that work done for you, because there's just not availability of those skilled trades in this area. There's a handful, 6 companies for the entire greater Toronto area, which might be able to do work on a concrete pool like that. But on the flip side, let's say you had a liner problem, you need liner and coping on your pool. There are 500, 1,000 companies in the greater Toronto area, more probably, that could and would do that work for you. Look at that discrepancy. That's crazy, but that's just how it is. The industry is crazy like that. And in your area, very likely one of the 3 types of pools, fiberglass pools, concrete pools, or vinyl liner pools, one of those is going to be the most popular. And that's probably the one that you should be looking at, or at the very least, just it should be leading the pack right out of the gate here when you're thinking of pools to get. If nobody in your area has a fiberglass pool, and you're like, well, I want a fiberglass pool, there actually could be reasons why there isn't fiberglass or there aren't fiberglass pools in your area. What if you have like a super duper high water table such that you dig a foot into the ground and you got water, just like when you're at the beach? You could install a fiberglass pool in that, just as you could install a concrete pool or whatever, but I don't really love fiberglass pools in areas with high water tables, because if for whatever reason you were to drain some water out of that fiberglass pool, pretty quickly you have a serious problem on your hands. And just to touch on that, both concrete pools and fiberglass pools can float out of the ground from hydrostatic pressure, which is just the water table pushing up on it. It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater. That's what a swimming pool is in your yard. And if you don't have the weight of the water in the pool to stabilize it within the ground, it can pop out of the ground, permanently breaking it. And it can happen equally to concrete pools and fiberglass pools. But you know what? A fiberglass pool weighs a lot less than a concrete pool, and it's much more likely to have a problem because it's not integrally strong like a concrete pool is. And as a result, that's like that. It's they're stronger than steel, but it's stronger than steel by weight. It's not actually stronger than concrete. And if you have some like strong hydrostatic pressure, didn't lift the pool out of the ground, but you could easily bow the floor in a fiberglass pool, more likely than cracking the floor in a concrete pool. That concrete pool is going to absorb more stress. The fiberglass pool is going to twist and bow, and it can absorb a certain amount of that. It could be a cosmetic defect, but it can also lead to cracking, things like that, as I was talking about with that newly installed fiberglass pool which cracked. Okay, so I've said like predominantly bad stuff about fiberglass pools, but I'm trying to deliver some value here, and I don't have only bad things to say about them. So let's talk some more about the good things about fiberglass pools. I already identified, kind of in a negative way, how general contractors might utilize a fiberglass pool, installation or shell manufacturer and installation assistance program to install a pool, save on some budget, whatever. But that's actually pretty legitimate. What if you're a contractor and you're trying to do precisely that? Maybe there's no pool companies available in your area where you're building this pool, and thereby that having a shell just delivered and installed with some help would save you a lot of heartache, So that is an advantage. But let's talk about another advantage of fiberglass pools. Definitive advantage of fiberglass pools. They are faster, especially when you compare them to concrete pools. Like often you'll get that comparison, fiberglass versus concrete. Fiberglass pools are 10 times faster to install. Like dig the hole, drop the pool in, hook it up, fill it up, let's go swimming this weekend. And that's awesome, right? For a lot of people shopping for pools, for whatever reason, it's a real last minute purchase decision. Like I would advise somebody 3 years in advance of wanting to own and swim in a pool, you should be shopping around, vetting contractors in your area, doing some research, getting estimates, getting the process rolling, getting your spot in line. So to call me and be like, yeah, a month from now I want to be swimming, like you're hard pressed. But maybe with a fiberglass pool, right? Like, that's possible. They are pretty darn fast. Call the manufacturer and be like, what do you have available and ready to go? I have a customer ready to go right now. He's working on the permits. Like, let's do this. That's an advantage. Another advantage, and it's not exactly contradictory to what I'm saying earlier, but they are a really smooth surface. Fiberglass pools are super smooth, and if you maintain it properly, it's gonna last a long time. Like longer than a liner in a liner pool, longer than a plaster or a pebble. even in a concrete pool, most likely, as long as it's all well maintained. It should last a really long time. It won't last forever. It should last a very long time. So it does require minimal maintenance. And I wouldn't say that it lends itself to like being rough or anything like that, thereby requiring more maintenance or anything like that. So yeah, I do agree that they're minimal on maintenance, compared to a vinyl pool or concrete pool. And again, these are all advantages that are stacking up. Another advantage could be budget. Sometimes, depending on where you live, because pricing for pools varies wildly by geographic location, you go and get the prices, and the vinyl pool package and the fiberglass pool package are about the same price, and the concrete pool package is like 30 to 40% more money. And if you don't have the budget for that, like, what are you going to do? I mean, vinyl versus fiberglass is a pretty fair comparison, right? It's going to come down to cosmetic value and expectation of function. You got 30 golden retrievers that want to go swimming in the pool every day. Like, you could probably have a vinyl pool and maybe it would be okay, but like, it'd be safer to just get a fiberglass pool, right? Wouldn't you agree? Well, I'd call that an advantage right there. There's situational advantages still to this fiberglass pool. If you can get the pool design you like, you can get it installed soon like you wanted, you like cosmetically, like the aesthetic value of a fiberglass pool. You don't walk up to a fiberglass pool and go like, I don't like it, doesn't look good. Some people might say that about a vinyl pool. They'll walk up to a vinyl pool and go like, I don't like it, doesn't look good. Concrete pools are kind of like the gold standard for pools which look good. And a lot of times the vinyl liner and the fiberglass pools try to do stuff to make themselves look more like this more prestigious product, like installing a cantilevered coping on a vinyl liner pool or a fiberglass pool, or installing tile band on a fiberglass pool. Stuff like that is just kind of done to try to make it look a little bit more like this more premier product. So you could just get the more premier product, but if your budget is dictating, I mean, that's a fair comparison between concrete and vinyl. In a cold climate where you need to winterize, I'm probably leaning towards vinyl liner, because normally I like to lower water level to winterize the pool, to evacuate all the water from the system reliably. Like, there's other methods, but that's always been traditionally the method that I've relied upon. And I don't love draining fiberglass pools, because some of them, even 12 inches, 18 inches of water down, you've got a problem. You got a big problem right now. Like, it happens sometimes with vinyl liner pools too. Like, that same pool that would be a problem, it's a vinyl liner pool now. So same thing. When I get 12 or 18 inches down, what I notice is that the liner in the shallow end is just kind of starting to pucker up a little bit and float around. And if you're really on top of things, you would see that happening and recognize, oh, we've got like a groundwater issue here lifting this liner. We got to stop draining and refill this pool immediately. In which case, as I mentioned, there's other methods like one-way blowout plugs or making little snorkels that go above water. You can winterize pools, and a lot of people do professionally and privately without draining, but to me, it's just a more standard process. I can be more confident with what I'm doing with the draining down to the return level, but I'm not super confident about doing that with fiberglass pools. And you'd want to be aware of this. If you're buying a pool, having it installed, what is the water table in your area? Like, that's a question every pool company that I managed to get on the phone, which I think you probably have discovered is kind of hard to do, I would be inquiring, hey, what's the groundwater table like? Is there a lot of groundwater in this area where I live? And in an ideal sense, the pool companies in your local area should be able to answer that question for you. And that would be good information for you to know. And I would be disinclined to choose the fiberglass pool in a high water table area, or an area that deals with a lot of freezing conditions in the winter, and especially in one that deals with both of those things. So is this fair? Have I covered both positive and negative ground here? I felt like I wanted to provide some value to people who are doing the shopping and comparison process, because I don't like to see people saying like, really I'm just choosing this fiberglass pool because I don't like pool chemicals and I want to use less of them. And you know what? That's just not the right reason for you to choose this pool. It's genuinely not. The negligible difference in chemical use at best. Like, I mean, if that was you, if you're like, I don't like pool chemicals and I want to, there are ways that I could help you do that. As an example, as a swimming pool specialist, hearing your request for your expectation of function for the swimming pool, I could help deliver that to you in a meaningful way. And it would not be by installing a fiberglass pool, and nobody can argue with that statement. There are ways, and it's not that. So expectation of function, discerning marketing message and marketing hype from the real value that you're going to get from owning this swimming pool. Like, there's a lot of considerations going on here. And maybe if I'm just, if I can just tack on one more negative, and it's a pretty big one, so I'm just going to take the swing here and say it. There is a much higher chance that you will encounter a low quality, low experience pool installer if you hire a fiberglass pool installation company versus if you hired like a concrete pool installation company, or even, in my opinion, a vinyl liner installation company. That's a bold statement. It truly is. But I've identified earlier that there's an opportunity in the market for people with less skill and experience to just jump in and be like, yeah, pool builder, that's me. ABC Pools or whatever. Don't sue me, ABC Pools, if you're out there. I just, as an example, right? Like it doesn't take the same skill. To build a concrete pool takes a huge commitment. It takes 7 to 10 years to learn how to plaster a swimming pool. The decorative finish that we apply to it. Nobody is going to learn how to plaster a pool in 3 years. Like, and actually, that's not true. The guys who taught me to plaster pools were actually literally named Mario and Luigi. You can't make life, life's too crazy. You can't make this stuff up sometimes. But if you're not named Mario and Luigi, you're going to have a hard time learning how to proficiently plaster a swimming pool in 3 years. Like 7 to 10, you're going to be a master for sure, depending on how many you do a year. That matters. But what I'm saying is it takes serious commitment. That's one component. What about structurally building and designing swimming pools? How long does it take you to learn shotcrete? I'd like to know. The commitment to learning how to build and install concrete pools is massive. And by the time that dude shows up on your doorstep, he probably duct tapes his fingers together every morning from the amount of just work those things have done building concrete pools. That's a good person to hire to build your swimming pool. Like, if the person building the fiberglass pool has less skill, and this is where I see it. I'll be specific. People come to me, they're like, I have a fiberglass pool, just had it installed. Here's my pool filtration setup. I want to optimize the run schedule and all that. I don't feel like I've really got it optimized the way it was set up and running for me here. Help me do that. And so I get involved as a consultant through my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com. And I help them to evaluate what they have. And the worst offenders I see, bar none, for poorly designed, sometimes dangerously designed swimming pool filtration, suction, and filtration systems are fiberglass pools. I see a tiny little one skimmer with a 55 gallon per minute flow rate maximum and one little set of hot tub main drains. It's a specific style. It's different than the kind you'd use for an in-ground pool. And they have relatively low flow ratings, but then they've hooked up a 3 horsepower pump to this, and you are exceeding the safe suction flow velocity for both of these pipes. You're creating entrapment hazards. The system is just poorly designed with the worst set of filtration equipment that I can see. A 3 horsepower pump, a 200-pound sand filter tank. None of this makes any sense to somebody like me who does this stuff every day. Pool equipment is harder and more complicated than most people give it credit for. And as a result, if somebody is just going to sell a pool shell, and that's really their bread and butter, selling a pool shell and installing a pool shell, honestly, the filtration equipment is an afterthought to a lot of fiberglass pool companies that are selling stuff. And it's crazy to me that they're creating dangerous situations or inadequately designed systems, or at best systems with massive room for improvement to the efficiency of the system design and operation. And the worst offenders by far, 10 to 1, are fiberglass pool installations. We're talking brand new ones too that people are paying handsomely for. So I'm not saying that, don't get a fiberglass pool because it's going to be crap and nobody knows what they're doing. No, that you could be dealing with the most knowledgeable person on the planet. I'm just saying that the likelihood of encountering somebody with a lower skill set and less experience is more likely, much more likely, with a fiberglass pool installation versus a concrete pool installation. And if I were having a pool installed, I would want to know that. That's valuable information. I would just take that in as this spectrum of becoming informed and making an informed purchase decision for this massively expensive luxury that you're going to bolt onto the most expensive thing that you own, your home. So that's all. I'm not trying to pick any fights with fiberglass. People who own them, love them. People who install them, of course, defend the integrity of what they do for a living. I can respect all of these things, and I hope you respect my opinion as an independent person, but also as a swimming pool specialist and swimming pool personality on the internet here on the Swimming Pool Steve YouTube channel and swimmingpoolsteve.com. I don't want to fight with anyone. I just want to help people make more informed purchase decisions. And these are things I would say to my mother. If my mother lived across the country from me and wanted to have a pool installed and was thinking about a fiberglass pool, this is the kind of conversation that I would have with her. I'd be very candid about the things that I like and the things that I don't like. And I just want to make her informed so that she can be aware and she can protect her investment and she can choose wisely for her new pool installation. If you found this information helpful, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can check out my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com.